Hey guys, welcome back to 428 Shibuya Scramble. This is TJ Gamer Girl signing on. So, last episode, we finished up Maria's time block. And these to be continues are so cruel. So, anyway, we're continuing Achi's story now. Achi took the escalator down to the third floor. And there was Hitomi, standing right there in the open, after he'd been searching for her high and low. There you are! I thought we were going to meet on the second floor, Achi said. She stared back at him in confusion. Well, anyway. Come on, we have to go and hide. Hide? Why? She gave him a dubious look. Achi felt something was off, but now wasn't the time to dwell on it. Because those guys might have found us, he said. They're outside. He took hold of Hitomi's hand. Hey, let go! What gives? She quickly yanked her hand away. Huh? As Achi tried to make sense of the way she was acting, she took off down the corridor. Hey, Hitomi! He hurried after her. It was like changing her clothes. It also changed her personality. Still, he couldn't just leave her alone. The kidnappers might well be closing in. He stayed in pursuit of her, trying not to draw too much attention. He lost track of her somewhere near the elevators. Ugh, what is her deal? Unsure of what else he should do, he headed back down to their rendezvous point on the second floor. When he arrived, he spotted Hitomi heading down the escalator ahead of him. Hitomi! Achi shouted, but his voice vanished into the noise of the crowd and she disappeared down to the first floor. Damn it! Achi rushed down the escalator. He took the steps 2, 3, 5 at a time. He made it to the first floor and looked around. There was Hitomi about to take a different escalator back up. Why is she doing this? He waved his arms to get her attention, but she didn't notice and headed right back up. Down, up, what the heck is she thinking? Achi sped around and got on the upward escalator. Out of my way, come on! He shoved people aside as he ran up the moving stairs. But he saw no sign of Hitomi when he reached the second floor. He lost track of her completely. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous! Achi's shoulder slumped. He felt exhausted, but kept up his search, scouring one floor after another until eventually he made it down to the second basement level. Had she grown too impatient waiting for Kanan and gone off searching for the blue minivan again? I think I can handle myself from here. He thought back to what Hitomi said earlier. Damn it! She's not gonna be okay by herself. He pounded his fist into the wall in frustration. Please stop! It was Hitomi's voice. Hitomi! Achi moved faster than he could think. Achi! She called back. A pair of thugs grabbed her by both arms. Achi stomped his way towards them. Get your hands off her! He shouted. Huh? What's it to you, pal? The older of the two, a middle-aged fellow, turned to Achi with a sneer. He looked familiar somehow. Hitomi shook herself free of the men and ran over to Achi. It's no use trying to act tough, buddy. We're just trying to get back what we're owed. Don't make us have to get rough with you. What, you're owed? Hitomi, do you owe people money? No, I don't. They just came after me and started going on about 2 million yen. She looked just as baffled by the situation as Achi was. If you're gonna blame someone, blame your boss, the older man said. He gestured to his lackey. A feral gleam flashed in the young punk's eyes. It was the look of a man who couldn't resist dashing out a beat down. He brought up his fist and shifted his feet, shadowboxing a few quick jabs with his left hand. It looked to Achi like the guy was an experienced boxer. Hold on, Hitomi said. What do you mean, my boss? Say what? Yanagishita. Who the hell do you think? The young punk shuffled closer, fist still menacing. Then his expression changed. Hey. Hold on. Are you Achi Endo? Yeah, that's right. Ha! Well, ain't that lucky? Damn it! Choking on my own spit again. Haven't done that in a while. Getting to throw down with you like this? The punk sounded pleased indeed. I've heard all sorts of rumors about you, you know. Let's see how true they are. Achi didn't like his chances in a straight-up fight with a trained boxer. What should he do? Better run for it? Apologize? Go for broke! His best chance was to hope for an opening to deliver a low kick. He needed to time it perfectly when his opponent took a step forward. With a loud breath, the thug shot out his left arm. Now! Achi shifted his stance and unleashed a low kick. Suddenly, the elevator doors opened right nearby. Hi, Toyama. Achi and the punk both stopped in mid-attack. A miserable-looking older man stood in the elevator. At the sight of him, the punk's face went red with rage. You, Toyama! Going up? The man in the elevator hurriedly closed the doors. The two thugs rushed toward him, but the elevator already began heading back upward. Come on, after him, the older man shouted. The unpunk raced up the stairs. You stay right where you are, the older fellow added, glaring at Hitomi. Then he followed after Izaki. Does he really think we're dumb enough to just wait here? Achi scoffed. Achi, I've been looking all over for you. Hitomi gave him an angry swat on the chest. For me? What are you talking about? You weren't waiting where you said you'd be. Yeah, because you went up to another floor. What do you mean? I went right where you said. On the second floor. Huh? This wasn't quite adding up. Second floor? What are you talking about? You went up to the third floor. No, I didn't. Wait, what? None of this makes any sense. Achi felt like his brain was getting scrambled. Well, anyway, at least I found you safe and sound. Yeah. The two smiled at one another. What's with those clothes? Hitomi's new outfit was completely different from the clothes she'd had on earlier. I tried on a few things, but wound up deciding on this. You tried other stuff on? Ah, okay, that explains it. Achi said, at least now things sorta make sense. That's nice, you know? What is? Your clothes, I mean. They look good on you. Thank you. Wow, I'm actually blushing now. Kinda made me blush to say it. Achi and Hitomi shyly avoided each other's eyes. Oh, so, hey, Achi said, eager to change the subject. Do you still have that magazine? Oh, right, yeah. I was going to just throw it away, but I couldn't. How come? I haven't been able to find the right kind of receptacle. Newspapers and magazines should be kept in separate from normal trash, right? Hitomi scanned their surroundings for a suitable bin. Wait, you serious? Yeah. You're thinking about proper recycling now, of all times. Is that weird? Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I think you might just be perfect. Achi found himself blushing even harder now. Tama! A sudden yell snapped at it. Damn it, Yana! The sketchy-looking fellow who'd given her the magazine was scampering down the stairs toward them. Great, Achi said. The weirdo's back. The man ignored him, though, and leaned in close to Hitomi. Ah ha 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 ha! You do still have it! He snatched the magazine from Hitomi's hands. Yes! This one hasn't been scratched off yet! The man hunkered down on the floor and began scratching away at a scratch card stapled to the centerfold. Wait! Don't let him have that! Another man came swooping out of nowhere and yanked the magazine away. It was the older fellow who'd appeared in the elevator minutes before. You can't do that! That's mine! The sketchy-looking man clutched the older newcomer. Let go! No way! I said let go! And I said no way! The two were fighting in front of the exit, keeping Achi and Hitomi from leaving. How'd you like this? The older man shouted, snatching away haphazardly at the ticket. Now it's just a worthless scrap of paper. Ah, my 100,000 yen. You mean my 100,000 yen? Ha ha ha! Then the middle-aged fellow looked back down at the ticket. What are the odds? Somehow in his random scratching, he'd happened to land himself a winner. Give it! No way! The two men took off, engaged in a running battle for the ticket. What was the deal with those two? I'm not sure. Achi and Itumi could only stand there dumbfounded. On the other hand, hey, look at the time. It's almost 3. The two headed hurriedly for the Gigo back entrance. But just as they were nearing the doors, shutters dropped down in front of them. Whoa, what gives? Due to maintenance, all entrances other than the main entrance on the first floor have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor. Achi glared at the loudspeaker. It looked like there was no exit through the back after all. I've got a really bad preposition about this. You mean premonition? Hitumi had gotten quicker to butt in with his corrections. Holding on to their premonitions, then, the two hurried their way up the stairwell. As Hitumi tried to head out the first floor entryway, Achi yanked her back. Careful! What's the matter? It's that guy. Huh? Hitumi's expression stiffened. Slipping in behind a nearby pillar, Achi pointed to the man with the cane, who was keenly eyeing shoppers as they came and went. Well, this bites. No way we're getting out with him there. Achi? Hitumi whispered in his ear. Behind us! Achi glanced back and saw the two goons walking in their direction. Uh-oh. If those two caught a scene like before, the assassin would notice them for sure. Ah! The younger punk had spotted them. Damn it! Achi thought, gritting his teeth. Eee! But the thuggish pair let out a teensy squeak and then darted off in a different direction, vanishing from view. What the heck? Achi and Itumi watched them go, unsure of what to make of the sudden retreat. Well, anyway, Achi said after a moment, now we could try to find another way out. Taking Itumi by the hand, he headed back into the shopping area. The back entrance on the first floor, that was a no-go. The other emergency entrances, the other emergency exits were also locked down, which meant that the main entrance on the first floor was really was the only choke point in around. It was almost time for them to meet Kanan. They need to find some way to bust out of here. The pair headed back toward the main entrance. Then they saw the man with the cane again, heading in their direction. He hadn't seen them yet, but there was no way they'd avoid him if they didn't do something quick. Guess for now we've got to go up, Achi said to Hitumi. They started racing up the nearest escalator, which was descending from above. My bad, coming through. Sorry, please excuse us. They fought and shoved their way past the stream of people riding in the other direction. They could see the second floor now. Achi figured they'd be in the clear when they got there. But then a large woman appeared at the top of the escalator, heading down. She was the one who'd been in the Chinese restaurant on the 4th floor. The one who supposedly packed an entire buffet into her belly. She was wide enough that Achi and Hitumi would never be able to slip past her. Hey, out of the way, Achi shouted, but the young woman ignored him. Achi tried to push past, but he just bounced off her. They were drifting inevitably back down toward the first floor. It was like they were riding a conveyor belt that was delivering them right to the assassin. This was not good. If they didn't do something soon, they'd... Wait a sec. Something must have caught the assassin's eye. Achi saw him suddenly rush outside. There was no telling what had just happened, but now there was a chance to escape. Achi and Hitumi raced out the door. Outside, the man with the cane was nowhere to be seen. Looks like we're safe. Achi let out a sigh. For now, someone said. Keep your eyes open. The sudden words made the two turn with a start. Kanan was standing right behind them. She's gotten this close and neither of them had noticed a thing. She moved with all the skill of an assassin. Achi felt a chill shoot through him. Damn it, another to be continued. Well, at least that's 2 down. 3 to go. Let's do Osoa. Because I'm really... Like, when we ended this one, he had just found out that Tanaka had a listening device on him. I do not want others intruding into my domain. Accordingly, I do not intrude on others. That is how I've lived my life. That is how I forged my sense of calm. But something has begun to drive me mad. The boundaries between myself and others have started to collapse. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'll become something other than myself. And that is one thing I fear I can never bear. Oh no, you don't! Kajiwara tackled Tanaka as he strode toward the door. The two men collapsed in a heap in the front of the entryway. Hey! Tanaka barked. What are you doing? Hold still. Kajiwara ran his bug tracker over Tanaka's body. It began beeping loudly. Aha! Kajiwara pulled off Tanaka's necktie clip. It's a listening device. Tanaka's face went pale. You know, if you look at this picture right here, it looks like Kajiwara is about to shove something up his ass. Like a probe or something. And Tanaka's just gonna look up, oh shit, on him. Where did you get this? Kajiwara demanded. Well... Tanaka trailed off into silence. I gave it to him. It was I who had appeared on the second floor landing. You were listening in, also asked brokenly. Ma'am, Kajiwara said, would you mind explaining this? For once he seemed deadly serious. I was barely able to hear a thing. That's what I get for going with something so cheap. I held out a dangling earpiece. When and where did you get that? Earlier today, when I left to do some shopping. And why did you plant a listening device on Mr. Tanaka? Kajiwara asked. That's what I want to know, Tanaka chimed in. Why would you do this, Miss Osoa? He was trembling. You were outside emailing someone earlier, weren't you, Mr. Tanaka? I saw you from the window. Emailing? Kajiwara looked into Tanaka's face. I nodded. He came back into the house shortly afterward, and I asked him where he'd gone. And what do you think he said? She was practically gloating, playing to her little audience. She began stalking down the stairs. He said he'd gone to check on something at the lab, despite the fact that he was out in the yard fiddling with his phone the whole time. So I figured if I bugged him, he might show his true colors and... Enough. Also, I cut his wife off. Tanaka had been emailing Hitomi, of course, but he couldn't reveal that now. I think I get what happened here. Kajiwara interposed. He folded his arms. Your wife thought that Mr. Tanaka was in contact with the kidnappers, and so she planted a listening device on him. The detective peered at Tanaka. Who were you emailing, sir? Yes, that's right, I chirped. Show us your phone, Mr. Tanaka. Let's see what you were really up to. Or is there some reason you don't want to show us? Also was started to panic. If the police checked that cell phone, they'd find the emails from Hitomi. And if the kidnapper somehow found out that, Badia's life would be in danger. But I was still relentlessly advancing on Tanaka. I stopped this! Darling? She turned to him in surprise. Tanaka was sending emails on my behalf, Osawa said. I asked him to do it. And just who was he emailing? It was... He needed to think of a lie fast. It's me, someone from work. Pretty Honey! It was Pretty Honey! Is that a reference to Cutie Honey? Someone from work. But sir, Kajiwara was quick to butt in. Don't you have a computer in your study? Couldn't you have sent the emails yourself? The detective had to choose now, of all times, to actually be perceptive. I do. My computer was having problems sending email. I'm not sure what the issue was. Look, the point is, there's no reason to worry about Tanaka's emails. There just isn't. I'm telling you. It was a lame excuse, but he had to just keep pressing it. Anyway, I think we can say we're done here, Osawa said. He opened the front door. Now, if you don't mind, I've asked Tanaka to run some errands for me. Tanaka gave him a quick bow and headed out the door. Hey, wait! That was I. Just calm down, Osawa barred the way. There's no way he's connected to the kidnappers. Can't you see that? His voice cracked, and he shuddered at a sudden rush of emotion. There, sir, Kajiwara said consolingly. She's just deeply worried about your daughter. I turned around and marched. She ain't worried about shit but herself. But still, if she's that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift seems a bit... Kajiwara's muttering trailed off. What do you mean? Also asked. Nothing. Not important. The detective waved his hand dismissively, but there had been a definite note of suspicion in his voice. Well, back to work. Kajiwara headed back into the living room. Osawa returned to his study and sat in front of his computer. He had no desire to be in the presence of the detectives who now crowded his living room. The Aya Kamiki fan forum for people 40 and over was still open on his monitor. He reloaded the page and saw that his earlier thread had gotten a reply. It was from Pretty Honey, a regular contributor in Osawa's threads. Shinya Kano's girlfriend Rumi Osa. So when we get to a keep out, it'll possibly... I'm opposed to the idea of Aya Kamiki expanding into America. She should be able to enjoy the success she's earned in Japan without having to struggle overseas. Aya has done so much for us. I'd like to hear her keep supporting Japan forever. That's narrow-minded. The message was festooned with the sort of emoticons that a young girl might use. Pretty Honey claimed to be a 19-year-old female college student. Although the community was meant for Aya Kamiki fans 40 and older, the settings allowed anyone to post there. The only young woman among the members, however, was Pretty Honey. The thread continued. By the way, have you tried the Aya fortune teller yet? There's a link below. Fortune telling, huh? Practice of determining a person's future, luck, or life events using cards, horoscopes, and... Sounds about right for me. Like, I know what fortune telling is. I just wanted to see what the video was. It's like, pull out one of those fortune things that the Japanese use. And it's like, unlucky. Yeah, just sounds about right. Also was stared. Should he ask it whether Maria was... Should he ask it... Oh, the fortune teller. If it gives him a good answer, he'd believe it. For a bad answer, he wouldn't. Might be worth a shot, just for some peace of mind it brings. He clicked the link, and the Aya fortune teller page came up. It asked you to enter your birth date and sex, and then Aya Kamiki would offer her advice. Also follow the instructions, entering his date of birth, selecting male, and then clicking next. A few seconds later, his fortune was displayed. You're a very work-minded person. He'd hoped for some insight on Maria, but instead it was just a write-up about his personality. You'd never be able to get by without the devoted support of those around you, but you probably don't realize that, do you? It's a big mistake to think you can get through all of life's challenges on your own. There's nothing cool about being ignorant. If you don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you, and start living a better life before it's too late. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Famous people who got your result. Shinnosuke Orai, playwright. Wandering Angels guy. Also, I couldn't help but feel that the advice was painfully appropriate. He went back to the forum and replied to Pretty Honey. Nice to hear from you again, Pretty Honey. I definitely know how you feel about Aya Kamiki being ours. Still, I'm confident she's got what it takes to persevere and succeed in America. And if she does fail, well, all of us in Japan will be here to welcome her back and all the same. Guess this voyage to America I've concocted just has me a little worried, a little worked up. Also, I clicked post and leaned back in his chair. Mr. Ozawa! Mr. Ozawa! It was Kajiwara, shouting from outside the door. First the toilet, then lunch. What is it now? There's been a development in the case. Please, join us in the living room. We have important matters to discuss. Kajiwara had his detective face on. That is not stern and solemn. She looks like she's ready to take a bitch out. When Osawa entered the living room, I was already there, looking stern and solemn. Now that you're both here, Kajiwara said, allow me to share what we know. We've identified the location that appears to be the Syndicate's hideout. You have? What about Maria? Is she there? Osawa exclaimed. We still haven't been able to ascertain whether your daughter is safe. Well, then, what were these important matters you needed to discuss? Osawa felt a wave of anxiety rush through him. The hideout in question is a condominium in Hiro, and it's owned by whom? Mr. Osawa, please calm down. That was Osawa, not I. Tell me. Go on, out with it. Kajiwara took a deep breath. The residence is owned by Mamoru Tanaka. Osawa was speechless. He couldn't process what he was hearing. Tanaka? Lies! I shrieked. Just what are you implying? That Mr. Tanaka's a kidnapper. Where's your proof? With all due respect, ma'am, weren't you suspicious of Mr. Tanaka yourself? Well, I suppose, but you did go so far as to stick a listening device on him. Flustered, I withdrew into a vacant silence. The sudden ringing of the phone startled everyone in the room. Was that Tanaka? No, it couldn't be. There was no way. The phone was wiretapped. The detective wearing the headset nodded to Kajiwara, who, in turn, motioned for Osawa to pick up. Hello? He said cautiously. Hello. Is this the home of Maria Osawa? The voice was not Tanaka's. Osawa didn't recognize it, but the veil of despair that hung before him thinned slightly. Is this the home of Hitomi Osawa? This time the man on the phone used Hitomi's name instead. Yes, that's right. The caller immediately hung up. As Osawa stood there dumbstruck, Kajiwara gently took the receiver and hung up the phone. That was not good. One of the detectives addressed Kajiwara. We traced the source of the call to a cell phone. Also, we pinpointed the base station used. Inform Detective Kuze so we can prepare a team, just in case. Just in case? Osawa asked. Well, what do you mean by that? Kajiwara frowned slightly. Just because it's a kidnapping case doesn't mean that every phone call comes in from the kidnapper. We'll look into it, of course, but... I see. Besides, right now, confirming Mr. Tanaka's whereabouts takes priority. Don't you agree? Osawa nodded. Someone should call him, the detective added. I'll do it. I got out her cell phone and dialed up Tanaka. Where was Mr. Tanaka headed? Kajiwara asked. He eyed Osawa keenly. Where was he headed? Did we... I don't actually know. Even leaving the part about Hitomi, that was still the truth. If Tanaka was behind the kidnapping, Osawa knew he ought to tell the police about the blue minivan and the emails from his daughter. But part of him still trusted Tanaka deep down, and he couldn't bring himself to reveal it all. We have investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium, Kajiwara said. Let's wait for them to report in. We have investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium. That came up twice, I swear. On the far side of the room, I was squawking in frustration. Despite several attempts, she hadn't been able to get through to Tanaka. Kajiwara's phone ran and he pulled it from his pocket. Kano, what's going on? He headed into one corner as he spoke into the receiver. I suppose that'd be alright. What for, though? After a few more quiet words, Kajiwara held his phone out to Osawa. One of the investigators on the scene would like to speak with you. Following in confusion, Osawa took hold of the phone. Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from Shibuya Precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. There was a pause on the speaker, as the speaker took a deep breath before continuing. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? What? Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret, so how did some detective from Shibuya know it? And that's... jumped to Kano. Osawa was bewildered. I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply. Mr. Osawa? The detective continued after a moment. Is everything all right? Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. They were after the virus? Did he mean the UA virus kept in the lab? Wait, hold on. The detective had to be wrong about that. The kidnappers must have the UA virus already. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had to do what I had did to Hitomi. What did you do to Hitomi? Do not look away. These are your crimes. Did he inject his own daughter with the virus? At last, Osawa understood what those emails from A were all about. They were a preview of the tragedy that was yet to unfold. The kidnappers probably meant to start the main event soon. It might already be too late to stop them. Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara asked. Are you alright? The detective gazed with concern into Osawa's ashen face. Bracing himself, Osawa spoke up, his voice hoarse and dry. A killer virus is about to be unleashed in Tokyo. And I know who's responsible. It's me. The sudden confession caused the detectives on site to stir like a hornet nest. Please arrest me. Feeling the weight of his crimes crushing down on him, Osawa dropped his gaze to the floor. He held out both his wrists. I'll tell you everything down at the station, he said. Anything you need to know. Also, I imagined bodies dropping left and right. There were limits to what might be cured by the small stockpile of antiviral his lab currently contained. If they were unable to quarantine the infected in time, then Shibuya. No, all of Japan might be engulfed in a pandemic that the drug could never stop, and could possibly spread to the rest of the world. humanity would be wiped out. The virus is that deadly. He could only hope that his complying with the authorities might help to stop the spread of the infection before it was too late. Wait, that's a bad end? Because of what Kano said to him. A simple error in word choice led also at... Ah! Okay, so I just need to do Kano and, change up what he said. What he says during that phone call. Alright, that'll be in the next episode. Till then, this is the Gamer Girl, signing off. Bye-bye.